The Syrian army cuts off the largest town in Ghouta enclave. Turkish forces and allied Syrian rebels battling Kurdish militia in northern Syria advanced to the flashpoint town of Afrin. And the Sultanate inflation rate rises by 0.49% in February 2018. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. Syrian troops today cut off the largest town in eastern Ghouta from the rest of the rebel-held enclave, which is now split in three. The army captured a road linking the town of Douma with Harasta further west and also captured the town of Misraba. Correspondent inside Douma said that shelling and airstrikes were rocking the town today. Besieged by the government forces since 2013, Ghouta is the last remaining rebel-held area near the capital. Keen to secure Damascus government troops and allied militia have been closing in the enclave since February 18th and have overrun more than half of it. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Monitoring Group said that more than 975 civilians, over 250 of them children, have been killed and hundreds more wounded. Turkish forces and allied Syrian rebels battling Kurdish militia in northern Syria advanced today to within just a few kilometers of the flashpoint town of Afrin. The move came after a day of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said his troops and the Syrian fighters they were backing could break into the Kurdish-controlled town at any moment. Turkey launched Operation Olive Branch on January 20th against the Kurdish People's Protection Units, YPG, a powerful militia that controls the Afrin region in northwest Syria and which Ankara regards as a terror group. Today, the Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights Monitoring the group said that attacking forces are now 4 kilometers away from the town of Afrin from the northwest, where there are intense clashes, airstrikes, and artillery fire. Ankara said that YPG is the Syrian branch of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, which has fought a 3-decade insurgency in southeast Turkey. India and France pledged today to work together to ensure freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean and signed an agreement to expedite construction of a big nuclear power plant in India by a French company. After talks with French President Emmanuel Macron in New Delhi, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also highlighted the solar alliance and cooperation between the two countries in the fields of defense, security, technology, space, and counterterrorism. Macron, who arrived in New Delhi yesterday for a 4-day visit to India, said France and India should be key partners. Modi said it was critical for the two countries to cooperate in the Indian Ocean region. To help ensure freedom of navigation, the space agencies of the two countries signed an accord to help them detect, identify, and monitor sea vessels. The two countries also agreed to exchange information and technical experts in the fields of environment and climate change. The nuclear agreement is considered significant, with critics saying that Jaitpur, the site of the 6-unit plant, which is to generate 9,900 megawatts of the power in western India, is a seismic zone.
Sur la lutte contre la radicalisation sur les réseaux sociaux et sur le financement du
The three chiefs of the European Union and Japan were holding talks about U.S. President Donald Trump's plans to impose tariffs on steel and aluminum amid fears they could trigger a border trade war. The European Union Trade Commissioner Cecilia Malmström met today in Brussels with Japanese Economy, Trade and Industry Minister Hiroshi Seiko. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer was expected to join the two border talks later in the day. The European Union is seeking clarity from Washington about whether the 28-nation bloc will be exempt from the U.S. tariffs, like Canada and Mexico are. If not, the European Union has threatened retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. products. Key U.S. trading partners and business have warned that tariffs could backfire, provoking a trade war and hurting allies more than China, their main target. Armed forces personnel are expected to return to Salisbury today to assist police in the investigation and cleanup operation around the suspected nerve agent attack, which left former Russian spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter in a critical condition. Authorities cordoned off Skripal's house, a car, a restaurant, and the cemetery where Skripal's wife Ludmila is buried and where there is also a memorial headstone for his son, Alexander. At the graveyard, forensic officers in the protective deer erected a blue tent yesterday. Around 180 troops from the Royal Tank Reliement, Royal Logistics, Corps, and Royal Air Force and experts from the Defense Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Center were deployed. Home Secretary Amber Rudd will chair a government COBRA meeting today where she is expected to be briefed by the investigators on the developments. And an endangered beluga whale calf rescued off Alaska's coast is now swimming in his new home in a SeaWorld theme park. The 5-month-old whale named Tayonek made a 6,500-kilometer journey to SeaWorld San Antonio on Thursday. Tayonek was less than a month old when he became stranded in Alaska's Cook Inlet last fall. Officials at the Orlando-based SeaWorld said that Tayonek is the first Cook Inlet beluga calf to be successfully rescued and rehabilitated in the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Fisheries Service chose SeaWorld San Antonio for Tayonek's new home. Experts from the Alaska Sea Life Center say Tayonek's mother likely abandoned him or died. Tayonek couldn't be released to the wild because he lacks the survival and social skills needed to thrive on his own. Still to come in our news bulletin. Many foreign tourists are visiting the Niswa Fort to see its grandeur and majestic features. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth said that it is following up closely with what has been reported in regards to the Australian cantaloupe. It is in contact with bodies concerned with Australia about the source of the bacterial contamination in one of the farms that produce cantaloupe and export it to a number of countries, including the Sultanate. The ministry, upon receiving the information, directed immediately specialists at the plant quarantine at all border crossings to take samples from every Australian cantaloupe shipment coming to the Sultanate and send it for analysis at laboratories in coordination with the Ministry of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources before final release. Aiming at shedding light on the Sultanate and promoting its tourism potentials as a global tourist destination, the Embassy of the Sultanate in South Korea organized Travel and Tourism Forum. The event was attended by representatives from Korean travel and tourism agencies. The forum included a presentation on the Sultanate and its modern renaissance. It also highlighted its deep-rooted history, rich culture, heritage, arts, and distinguished strategic location. It also showcased that close relation binding the Sultanate and Korea and the political and security and stability of the Sultanate and its safe economic and investment climate. The forum also included a photography exhibition for natural sciences and various touristic sites in the Sultanate and features of modern Renaissance. The annual inflation rate in Oman for February 2018 increased to 0.49%, compared with the same month of the previous year, according to the Consumer Price Index data released by the National Center for Statistics and Information. The rise in February price index was due to increase in prices of major categories such as housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels by 0.09%. Governorate-wise, the Governorate of North Al-Batna witnessed the highest increase in the inflation at 1.02%, followed by the Governorates of Dhofar with 0.62%, North and South Sharqiya at 0.46%, Muscat at 0.34%, Al-Dakhiliya at 0.25%, and Al-Buraimi at 0.06%. Monthly statistics issued by National Center for Statistics and Information pointed out that sectors of construction, mining, wholesale, and retail trade acquired 50.7% of the total number of Omanis working in the private sector and insured at the Public Authority for Social Insurances till the end of January 2018. The statistics showed that the number of Omanis working in the construction sector at the end of last January amounted to 56,333 male and female citizens. The wholesale and retail trade and vehicle repair sector represented 15.2%, reaching to 36,558 male and female citizens. The mining sector acquired 12% of the number of insured Omanis, amounting to 18,836 male and female citizens. The average price of a barrel of Oman crude oil increased by 36.6% at the end of January 2018 to reach to $60.8 per barrel, compared with $44.5 by the end of January 2017. These statistics show that the Sultanate's total exports of crude oil and condensate was 25 million barrels by the end of January 2018, which is a decline of 5.9% from the end of January 2017. The Sultanate's production of crude oil and condensate by the end of January 2018 was 29.9 million barrels, including 26.8 million barrels of crude oil and 3.1 million barrels of condensate oil. Tourists from different parts of the world flock in large numbers to Nizwa Fort to enjoy the Omani heritage and culture at this national monument. Our reporter Saleh Midkhalfan Al-Rahbi has more details in the following report.
Nizwa Fort is witnessing an active touristic season at this time of the year. With its magnificent splendor, this fort, known as a Shahba, offers glimpses of Oman's ancient civilization to its visitors who come from different parts of the world.
I love the way the feel of the fort and the colors and how they're so integrated, and it's very much like Oman itself. I would recommend them because I think it sort of typifies what the history of Oman is like, and Nizwa in particular, and so therefore, and I would recommend coming to Oman in general, and if they come to Oman, I would say they should come here too.
Recently, a private company is operating the fort under the supervision of the Ministry of Tourism to provide visitors with a vivid example of the many details of the day-to-day life that Omanis lived through the bygone eras.
It's very special for us as we are coming from a very different country, but this is much different. We like this very much because it has kept his original form. It's what it is and what it has been. So it's very nice.
Traditional arts are present in the premises of the fort to attract many visitors, showing them some aspects of the Omani culture.
It was good discovery. I wasn't at all familiar with it. So I was impressed both by the history, the renovation, I think the pride in the building, and also it gives me a feeling of the history, and the people themselves are very nice.
The number of visitors to Nizwa Fort is increasing year after another. These tourists come to enjoy the magnificent details of this great monument. Every stone, pillar and corner of this marvelous monument echoes a story to its visitors. Nizwa Fort is indeed a standing evidence of the deep-rooted Omani heritage and culture. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English News, Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhiliya, Governorate.
Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night over the governorates of Al-Dhahira and Buraimi. Winds will be northerly to northwesterly, light to moderate. Seas will be moderate to rough with a maximum wave height of 2.5 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Syrian army cuts off the largest town in Al-Ghouta enclave. Turkish forces and allied Syrian rebels battling Kurdish militia in northern Syria advance to the flashpoint town of Afrin. And the Sultanate's inflation rate rises by 0.49% in February 2018. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, thank you for watching and good night.